this could actually be a lot better than breakfast.
Dissidia Final Fantasy is a spin-off title of the Final Fantasy franchise that brings together the main protagonists and antagonists into a crossover fighting game. Not only that, but this game is also a representative of the 20th anniversary of Square-Enix's biggest best-selling franchise as a whole. I do have to say that for a crossover fighting game, there hasn't been so many that has worked, but the two biggest winners in my recollection are the Super Smash Bros. And Marvel vs. Capcom franchises. Could this crossover become the next big thing, or is it a fantasy that is worth forgetting forever? Be prepared for another jam-packed review on Episode 5 of Double RPG Reviews. This is Dissidia Final Fantasy on the PlayStation Portable.
But I'm ready for whatever comes my way.
For many eons in a desolate world divided by prosperity and disorder, two gods continue to fight each other to see who will rule over all. Cosmos, the goddess of harmony, and Chaos, the god of discord, have fought each other for many years, and their prowess has shown no fall between each of their strengths. However, things may come to a turn for the worst when both gods called forth a legion of warriors to fight in their favor. Amongst the side of Cosmos are the central heroes from Final Fantasies 1 through 10, and on Chaos' side are the central villains from the same games. Both sides fight in a battle that seems to be an even match, but those who answered to Chaos fought with a force that is inexhaustible. Cosmos has been defeated, and she finds the warriors that are scattered around the war-torn world and tells them that if there's a possibility to turn the tide on the conflict, then they must search for their own crystals. Each warrior accepts the goddess's request, and they must work together to bring an end to the war. The war-torn world of Asunder must be brought back to the light once more. This Final Fantasy fighter is way different than your typical fighting game and RPG. So, where do I begin? Well, your main concept within this game lies in the game's story mode, and you must play as the heroes on Cosmos' side to find their crystals and to try and stop Chaos from overtaking the whole world with his malevolent darkness. There is a prologue story that introduces you to the story and the objective of the game. The next 10 chapters are each hero's story that leads to their crystals, and then the last few chapters will work your way towards the final battle with Chaos, but you can choose to play any hero in those scenarios. Some of the heroes that you come to like are Cloud, Squall, Terra, Tidus, Cecil, and others to name a few. Within each stage lies a grid for you to move your character to collect treasures, summon stones, or fight battles against imitations of the heroes and villains. You can also change and buy equipment to best suit your needs, based on what level you are at, as the enemies continue to be a bit more adverse. There are bonus chapters you can obtain after completing the main story, but they can be a bit more challenging for the average gamer. However, the rewards will make you feel like you've accomplished something in the long run. There are other modes like Arcade Mode, Dual Coliseum, Quick Battle, and Online Mode, as they will have you fight battles under certain conditions or any rules of your own choosing. Let us not forget that completing most battles will reward you with PP currency to help you buy unlockable content in the PP catalog. Also, there is a museum where you can view many things like character profiles, music, cutscenes, voice files, etc. Everything in what you do, what you obtain, and what you want is all there, and the many unlockables have enough replay value to keep you entertained. Choosing options from the various menus and controlling your character in the grid modes of each story is very self-explained, but the primary focus of this section are going to be the controls in battle. Since this is my first review of a PSP game, the controls for battle are very easy once you get the hang of it, but the learning curve is moderate at best. Moving your character can be done with either the analog stick or the D-pad, but it is more recommended for you to use the analog stick because it is a 3D game after all. The main objective in the battle is to deplete your opponent's hit points, but doing that is not as simple as one would think. In order to attack your opponent's HP, you have to attack them to lower their bravery. Thus, the other battle mechanic is the Bravery Points, or BP. Hitting the circle button will let you execute BP attacks that are in conjunction with either the circle button or button combinations of the circle button when tapping left or right on the analog stick. When you deplete your foe's BP, you can gain extra bravery points that are based on a certain amount that fills up at the bottom of the screen. I really do not know how it works, but it is there. I assume it's based on how much BP you have, or how much it adds up after that amount. I don't know. Once you have enough BP, you can hit the square button to attack your foe with an HP attack. There are various attacks to implement. and it has the same functions as the BP attacks. Be careful when your BP is depleted though, or you won't be able to execute any HP attacks when your Bravery Points are recharging, or you will become brown bread in the process. With that big hurdle past us, let's move on to the other controls in battle. The X button is used for a variety of dodge moves, whether if it's to evade enemy attacks or banish traps. It is also used to chase your opponent when they are knocked very far away from your blow. Chasing your opponent is also done while holding down on the triangle button, but you can do this freely at your own exposure. Holding down on the right shoulder button alone will block enemy attacks, and with the combinations of the 3 out of the 4 buttons on your right can do some stellar things like summon monsters based on the summon stones, activate X mode to hit higher damage or execute X bursts after HP attacks, or dodge oncoming attacks more safely. Don't forget that in order to accurately keep your opponent in sight, you have to lock onto them with the left shoulder button. These controls look much unsophisticated, but it'll be more in reverse when you can learn about them in short time. For anything that has RPG elements, you think that the controls are going to be simple. It's not the case at first, but it is in the latter. Visually, the game's engine for this PSP title is worked by using the same engine that Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII offered last year. The color scheme for everything in this game seems more bright, vibrant, and versatile for having places that are fantasy-themed. However, they do look very well done for what most of the places might have looked like in a 3D game such as this. Even the characters in the game look very well done. Tetsuya Nomura from Final Fantasy VII and Kingdom Hearts fame worked on the character design, but he was told that he needed to make his characters very reminiscent of Yoshitaka Amano characters from Final Fantasies 1 through 6. That seemed to work out very well as Nomura hit it dead on with most of them. Some of his own created characters like Cloud, Squall, Tidus, and Sephiroth remain the same, but with some minor alterations to their costumes. Tetsuya Nomura has become quite a powerhouse ever since Final Fantasy VII, and his presence in a game such as this continues to surprise all of us, especially when his characters stick out really well. In terms of graphics and design, everything in the visuals look amazing as Square Enix has always tried to push the limits of any system media disc of any kind.